My name is Kristen Gomez. I'm 32 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I've lived in the dim, second place shadow of my older sister, Anna. She's 3 years older, endlessly adored, endlessly validated, endlessly excused. In our Texas household, she was the son everyone revolved around, and me, I was the responsible one, which, in my family, was just code for the daughter who works twice as hard for half the praise. When we were kids, the differences were almost cartoonishly obvious. Anna's birthdays? Huge backyard parties with bounce houses, pony rides, and themed decorations. Mine? A store-bought cake plopped on the dining table while Mom said, "Don't make a fuss, Kristen." Christmas was the same story. Anna received the real Barbie dream house, the one with the working elevator. I got a faded secondhand version where the elevator had been ripped out completely. My parents always said, "Be grateful for what you have, Kristen." And I was. But Anna never once heard that phrase, not even when she broke a brand new toy by accident and Dad drove to the store to replace it the same day. But the real fracture appeared when college came around. I'd spent high school grinding, AP classes, extracurriculars, volunteering, part-time jobs, anything to maintain my GPA. I got into a solid local university. My plan was practical: commute from home to save money. Anna? She had gone to her dream school out of state, and my parents funded everything: tuition, textbooks, dorm, meal plan, spending money. She even got care packages with little notes telling her how proud they were. So when I told them I'd be living at home, I expected some sort of support. I was wrong. Mom stared at me like I'd suggested something ridiculous. "If you're staying here, Kristen, you need to contribute. Anna deserved our help. You need to learn responsibility." Contribute turned into $400 a month. Rent, utilities, groceries, all on me. While I was making $9 an hour at a bookstore. I reminded them Anna never paid a cent in college. Mom shrugged. "We gave Anna what she needed. You're independent. You'll figure it out." So, I figured it out. I worked early mornings, late nights, weekends when I should have been studying, skipped meals to stretch money, drank the bitter free coffee at work while my classmates walked around with $6 lattes, bought all my textbooks secondhand or borrowed them from the library. Every month, I handed over $400 while Anna enjoyed a dorm so well decorated it could have been in a catalog. She once called me complaining her dorm AC wasn't cold enough. Meanwhile, I didn't even have AC in my car. Even our graduations were unequal. Anna finished college with a 3.2 GPA in communications, and my parents threw her a massive party with a DJ and a catered buffet. When I graduated with a 3.9 in computer science, Mom reheated lasagna and said, "No need to make a big deal." So yes, I learned early. Anna mattered. I was tolerated. After college, I moved into a tiny apartment with peeling paint and a questionable smell, but it was mine. I saved quietly, stubbornly, worked extra hours, tracked every expense, found joy in my independence, even if it was hard. Meanwhile, Anna married Josh, had 3 kids, and my parents practically became their personal safety net. Free babysitting every weekend, money for car repairs, grocery drops, rent help, emotional sympathy for how hard motherhood is. I wish I could say it didn't bother me anymore, but it did. And that's why I didn't tell them I was ready to buy a house. One thing I learned: anything I achieve becomes Anna's family resource. I started looking in secret, scrolling through listings at midnight, visiting open houses alone, taking long drives to neighborhoods I liked. I wanted a peaceful home, a place untainted by my family's demands. But somehow the information leaked. Lisa, the coworker who thrives on gossip, mentioned it to someone who turned out to be Anna's neighbor. And in a small-town Texas ecosystem, that means the whole family knows by dinner. Mom called me immediately. "Kristen," she said, fake cheerful, "why didn't you tell us you're buying a house?" "I'm just browsing," I lied. "Well," she continued, "Anna and I think a 4-bedroom would be perfect for you. 1 room for each of the kids for when they stay over." I froze. The kids staying over at my house? Mom kept talking like it was already decided. "You should be close to Anna, and we'll need a guest room too." And just like that, my potential house became a shared family asset, something meant to fix Anna's life, not support mine. Every day afterward, they flooded me with listings. Huge homes, 5 bedrooms, 3-car garages, finished basements Josh could turn into a man cave, pools for the kids, guest suites for my parents. Not one place was actually for me. After a week of this nonsense, I muted the group chat and kept looking alone. Then I found it, my dream home. A cozy two-bedroom cottage outside the city, a sunlit kitchen, a tiny porch I instantly loved, a quiet backyard, perfect for gardening, a space that felt peaceful the moment I walked in. I made an offer. It was accepted. I didn't tell them. I wanted one victory that wasn't contaminated by their entitlement. Then Mom called last week. We're having family dinner Saturday. You're coming, right? I almost said no, but then I realized it was the perfect setting. I'd tell them the truth. I already bought a house. A small house, a house meant for me, not for the entire Gomez dynasty. I knew they'd explode. I knew guilt trips were coming. I knew Anna would cry. Mom would scold. Dad would rage. But I also knew something else. For the first time in my life, I'm not bending. Not anymore. Walking into my parents' house that Saturday felt like stepping into a hurricane I'd already predicted, but still wasn't fully prepared for. I arrived exactly at 6 p.m., partly out of respect, mostly out of strategy. If the night was going to go nuclear, I wasn't giving them one extra minute to accuse me of being late and disrespectful. The moment I walked through the door, chaos hit me like heat from an open oven. Anna's kids were running laps around the living room, screaming about something they'd apparently been arguing over for hours. Josh was sunk into the couch like a permanent fixture, eyes glued to the TV, not even glancing up. Mom was darting around the kitchen as though she were hosting a 50-guest banquet instead of a family of 6. She looked at me briefly and said, "Oh, good. On time for once." The irritation flared instantly. I hadn't been late to a family dinner in years. But Mom's selective memory was a powerful tool when she needed to knock me down a notch. We sat for dinner, though sat is a generous word. The kids bounced, whined, elbowed. Anna complained nonstop about how stressed she was with 3 kids and no space. Josh ranted about some coworker who didn't respect him. Dad droned on about gas prices like he was delivering a nightly news segment. And me? I sat quietly, picking at lasagna, waiting for the inevitable ambush. Right on cue, Mom cleared her throat. She has a particular way of doing it. A theatrical, stage-clearing sound I've heard before every lecture, every guilt trip, every manipulation. My stomach tightened. "Kristen," she said, plastering on a big smile, "we found the perfect house for you." I didn't even hide my sigh. Anna lit up instantly, pulling out her phone. "It's beautiful, Chris. 5 bedrooms, huge yard for the kids, and a guest suite. It's only a few blocks from us. You're going to love it." Mom nodded enthusiastically. "And the neighborhood has great schools, wonderful parks, very family-friendly." Family-friendly. Schools. Kids. They weren't even pretending this was about me. "We can go see it tomorrow," Anna added, already acting like she was the real estate agent for a house I would be paying for, they would be living in. My moment had arrived. I set my fork down gently. A calm gesture that felt like loading a gun. "Actually," I said softly, "I already bought a house." The room froze. The kids stopped arguing. Josh finally looked away from the TV. Dad's fork hovered midair. Mom blinked. "What?" "I bought a house," I repeated. "A 2-bedroom cottage outside the city. It's perfect for me." For a split second, the world held its breath. Then everything detonated. "A cottage?" Anna sputtered, like I'd said I purchased a dumpster behind a gas station. "How are we supposed to fit in a cottage?" "You're not supposed to fit in it," I said. "It's my house." Mom's face turned an alarming shade of red. "Kristen, how could you make such a big decision without consulting us? We've been working so hard to find you the right home." "No," I said, meeting her eyes. "You were trying to find the right home for Anna, and her kids, and Josh, and yourselves." Anna's voice cracked, trembling with incredulous outrage. "We're struggling, Kristen, you know that. Our apartment is tiny. The kids have no space. It's not fair to them." I inhaled slowly. "That's not my responsibility," I said. Dad slammed his palm on the table so hard the plates rattled. "You're being selfish. Family is supposed to help each other. What's wrong with you?" Everything inside me snapped. "Nothing is wrong with me," I said, my voice low but firm. "I've worked for years to get where I am, and I'm not giving up my dream house to fix problems that aren't mine." Chaos erupted. Mom shouting that she raised me better. Anna crying, accusing me of abandoning her. Dad yelling I had no heart. Josh chewing loudly like none of this was his business. My pulse thudded in my ears. I picked up my purse. Mom followed me to the hallway, voice shrill. "You can't walk away from your family like this." I turned, met her eyes, and said the words I'd needed to say for decades. "Watch me." I walked out, angry, shaking, terrified, but free. At least I thought I was free. The harassment started that same night. A text from Anna, a picture of her kids crammed on their couch with toys everywhere. Look how cramped we are. Do you think this is fair? I didn't reply. The next morning, 5 missed calls from Mom, 10 from Anna, 3 from Dad. Anna's text came rapid fire. You only think about yourself. Mom cried all night. I don't even recognize you anymore. You've changed. Then the dagger. This isn't the sister I grew up with. Yeah, because the sister she grew up with had no boundaries. Mom chimed in too. You're being so selfish. You're hurting Anna's kids. You need to reconsider before it's too late. Sell the cottage. I muted both of them, but the voicemails kept coming. Mom sobbing, Anna pleading, Dad shouting. It didn't stop there. My aunt, someone who had barely spoken to me in years, called and said, I heard what's going on with Anna. Don't you think family comes first, Kristen? I hung up on her. Then came the Facebook posts. Anna uploaded a picture of her kids sitting on their bunk bed. All they want is a little space, but some people don't care about family anymore. Her friends flooded her comments with sympathy. Then Mom posted a picture of my cottage. Yes, my actual house. It's sad when someone forgets where they came from. We sacrificed so much for her. I blocked them instantly. But Lisa from work had already seen it and was whispering to the office that I abandoned my family for a mansion. It was all spiraling. Every text, every call, every guilt-filled message tightened around my chest like vines. Just when I thought it couldn't get worse, Anna showed up at my apartment, holding baby Zach, with the other 2 kids behind her, eyes red, mascara smudged. Kristen, she whispered, we have nowhere else to go. Please let us stay with you. My heart squeezed, but I didn't move. No, I said, I'm sorry. My home isn't an option. She stared like I'd struck her. So that's it? You're just going to let us suffer? I'm not letting you suffer, I said quietly. I'm protecting my life and my boundaries. She stormed off. Mom called the next morning and screamed that I was heartless, that I'd regret this someday. I didn't answer. I blocked her too. Then Dad, then Anna, then every aunt, cousin, and random relative who tried to talk sense into me. The first thing I did the next day was walk into a cell phone store and change my number. For the first time in my entire life, my family no longer had direct access to me. But deep down, I knew something. They weren't finished. Not even close. For the first time in weeks, everything was quiet. No buzzing phone, no guilt-drenched voicemails, no Facebook theatrics, no unexpected knocks from relatives trying to mediate. After changing my number, blocking my entire family, and tightening every privacy setting known to humanity, I finally felt like I could breathe. The silence was strange, but peaceful, like stepping out of a storm and realizing the world is still standing. I spent the week settling into my cottage, unpacking boxes, buying plants, drinking morning coffee on my porch, reminding myself that I'd earned this peace. But a part of me, a stubborn, instinctive, hyper-vigilant part, couldn't shake the feeling that things were too quiet. My family had never backed off easily. They always pushed until something cracked. That's how they operated. So when Saturday morning rolled around and the quiet still lingered, I should have known it wouldn't last. I was in the backyard trying to figure out why my lavender plant had died for the second time that week. According to Google, lavender was hardy and easy. Lies. Absolute lies. I was kneeling in the dirt when I heard someone knocking on my front door. Firm knocks. Not hesitant, not polite, confident. Immediately my stomach dropped. I knew that knock. I walked to the front door slowly, almost bracing myself. When I opened it, there she was, my mother, standing on my porch with a pie in her hands and the kind of smile people wear when they're trying too hard. Hi, Kristen, she said, as if she hadn't spent the last month harassing me with guilt messages and emotional blackmail. For a moment I just stared, my brain scrambled between shock, anger, and suspicion. Hi, I finally managed. She held the pie out. I brought your favorite, apple. My favorite was cherry. She knew that. She'd always known that. Apple was Anna's favorite, but I didn't bother correcting her. I stepped aside and let her in, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't want to cause a scene on my porch for my neighbors to witness. Texas gossip spreads faster than a wildfire. Mom walked inside as though she owned the place, eyes scanning every surface with thinly veiled curiosity. I watched her fingers brush against the back of my dining chair, like she was taking inventory. This is lovely, she said with an approving nod. You've done a great job. I've only been here a week, I replied. Her smile tightened just slightly. She sat at the kitchen table, smoothing her skirt as if preparing for a performance. I stayed standing, arms crossed loosely, a quiet reminder that this wasn't a warm mother-daughter visit. Then came her sigh, dramatic, practiced, familiar. "Kristen, I wanted to apologize." I blinked. Apologize? Of all the things I expected, that wasn't even in the top 10. She continued, voice softening. "Things got out of hand. I realized we put too much pressure on you about the house. We were stressed. Anna was struggling. But we shouldn't have taken it out on you." My throat tightened. Not because I believed her, but because part of me had always longed to hear those words. But something was off. Her tone was too polished. Her eyes darted a little too quickly. Her shoulders were too relaxed for someone supposedly apologizing for weeks of harassment. And she still hadn't mentioned the Facebook posts, or the dozens of voicemails, or the relatives she dragged into the situation, or the literal photo of my house she shared online. She was skipping the truth and fast-forwarding to forgiveness. "Kristen," she added, "I am proud of you. Truly, you've worked hard, and you deserve this house." My eyebrows rose slightly. Compliments from my mother? She was definitely here for something. I forced myself to stay silent, to let her keep talking. Then she said it. "I was thinking, maybe we could have a fresh start. I'd love to come by again. Maybe next time I could bring Anna and the kids. They'd be so happy to see your new place." And there it was, the real motive beneath the sugar-coated apology. Mom wasn't here to mend anything. She was here to assess the property, to see how much access they could negotiate, to test how soft my boundaries had become. "I don't think that's a good idea," I said carefully. "Things are still tense, and I'm not ready for visits." Her smile instantly faltered. "Oh, I see." But her eyes told a different story. She was annoyed, frustrated, calculating. Pretending to be understanding was not my mother's strong suit. Still, she quickly plastered the smile back on, as if she remembered she was supposed to be playing the kind, patient mother today. "Of course, honey, of course, I understand completely." She didn't. After a few more minutes of chatting, most of it her fishing for personal details I refused to give, she rose from her chair. "Well," she said, adjusting her purse strap, "I should get going. Thank you for letting me stop by. Truly, I just want us to be a family again." I nodded, but didn't say the words back. I walked her to the door. She stepped out, then turned to look at me, and for a brief moment, the warmth dropped from her face entirely. Her eyes flicked toward my lock, then the doorframe, studying it the way a contractor studies a blueprint. Then, just as quickly, she smiled again. "Take care, Kristen. You too." She walked down the path, heels tapping, and drove away. I closed the door and leaned against it, a strange uneasiness settling into my chest. Something about her visit was wrong. Not just the apology, not just the forced sweetness, not just the subtle dig about wanting to bring Anna and the kids next time. No, something else. A detail I couldn't put my finger on. I replayed the visit in my head for days. The way she inspected the windows, the way she hovered near the kitchen counter, the way her hand brushed the bowl where I kept my spare key, the way she subtly angled her body around the entryway. At first, I thought maybe I was overthinking. Trauma brain seeing threats where there were none. But the timing was too suspicious. For weeks, they harassed me nonstop. Then I blocked them. Then suddenly, Mom appears with a pie and a peace offering. Suddenly, she's full of warmth, compliments, and new starts. No, my mother never apologized unless she was preparing for something worse. And deep down, my gut whispered a warning. This isn't over, Kristen. She's planning something. You just don't know what yet. And as it turned out, I didn't have to wait long to find out. By the time the next weekend rolled around, I'd convinced myself to stop overanalyzing my mom's visit. I told myself I was being paranoid. Trauma makes you see shadows in every corner. I knew that. And maybe, just maybe, she really had been trying to apologize. By Saturday, the weather was warm, the sun was bright, and I decided to enjoy a peaceful morning running errands. Groceries, a quick stop at Target, picking up a package from the post office. The normal things people with normal families do. When I turned onto my street, I felt a small flicker of contentment. Finally, my life felt quiet. But as I pulled into my driveway, that flicker died. Anna's SUV was parked right in front of my house. At first, I thought, stupidly, that maybe she was just parked there, a coincidence, a neighbor's visit, a misinterpretation. But when I got closer, I saw something that made every muscle in my body lock up. My front door was unlocked. My heart slammed against my ribs. I stepped inside and froze. It was like stepping into someone else's home, or rather, like someone else had stepped into mine and made themselves comfortable. My living room was a disaster. Emily and Mason were sprawled on my couch, surrounded by half-eaten bags of chips that I didn't own. Toys were scattered everywhere. My throw pillows were tossed onto the floor. Baby Zach was toddling around, chewing on one of my brand new decorative cushions, drool soaking into the fabric. My kitchen? Josh was standing in front of the open fridge, eating a sandwich he very clearly made using my food. Then I saw Anna, in my sunroom, rearranging my furniture. Not just touching it, dragging it, redesigning the space like she was auditioning for HGTV. It felt unreal. My voice came out before I realized I was speaking. What the hell is going on? Anna looked up casually, like I'd interrupted her in the middle of folding laundry. Oh, hey, Kristen, she said. We figured it'd be easier to move in while you were out. Move in. Move. In. I stood there, backpack still on my shoulder, grocery bag slipping from my hand. It felt like my brain shut down, rebooted, and still couldn't process the sentence. Move in? I repeated. Are you serious? Anna rolled her eyes. Mom gave us the key, so we assumed it was fine. The key. The spare key. The bowl on my kitchen counter. The way Mom hovered near it. The way her fingers grazed the rim as she talked. It hit me all at once. Mom didn't apologize. She didn't visit to reconnect. She came to get access. My house wasn't an olive branch. It was a target. What key? I demanded. That one, she said, pointing to the counter where the bowl was empty. Mom said it made sense for us to start settling in. The apartment is too small, and your house is perfect for us. Josh finally spoke up around a mouthful of my food. Honestly, Kristen, you don't need all this space. You're single. This house is way more practical for us. My vision tunneled. Get out, I said quietly. Anna blinked. Kristen, don't be dramatic. Get out of my house. Anna scoffed. We're family. Stop being selfish. The kids need space, and this place is basically wasted on you. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I didn't explain. I just pulled out my phone, dialed 911, and put it on speaker. Anna's eyes widened. What are you doing? Calling the police, I said. You broke into my home. Mom gave us the key. The key wasn't yours, I snapped, and she doesn't live here. You're trespassing. Josh muttered something like, You've always been like this, but I ignored him. The dispatcher answered, and I calmly reported the situation. By the time officers arrived, my hands were shaking, not from fear, but from rage. Anna tried pleading with them. We're her family. She's overreacting. Josh chimed in. She doesn't even use half the house. The officers didn't care. One of them turned to Anna and said, Ma'am, you cannot enter someone else's home without permission. Having a key does not give you the right to move in. Anna's eyes filled with tears. Anna tears. The weapon that had worked on my parents, neighbors, teachers, relatives, anyone she needed. But the officers weren't buying it. Pack your things, one of them said. You need to leave immediately. Watching them gather their stuff, the stolen snacks, the toys, the laundry basket Anna had apparently brought to start organizing, was one of the most surreal experiences of my life. Anna sniffled dramatically. You're doing this to your own nieces and nephew? No, I said. You did this by violating my home. Josh glared at me like I'd kicked a puppy. You know, Kristen, you're unbelievable. I didn't respond. They shuffled out the door, kids still yelling that they weren't ready to leave. Anna shot me one last wounded glare. You'll regret this, she muttered. When the silence finally settled, one officer approached me. Would you like to press charges? I thought about it. About the break-in, the entitlement, the manipulation, the stolen food, the trespassing, the way Anna had rearranged my life like it belonged to her. I exhaled slowly. No, not unless they come back. The officer nodded. We'll file a report. If anything else happens, call us immediately. After they left, I locked the door and stood there, staring at the wooden frame like it had betrayed me. My home had felt safe, my sanctuary, my first real victory, and now it felt violated. I called a locksmith immediately. By evening, every lock in the house was replaced. By nightfall, I'd booked an installation appointment for a full security system. And the next morning, I called a lawyer. By the afternoon, a cease and desist letter had been drafted and sent to my mother, my sister, Josh. The letter detailed every part of the incident, every action, every boundary they crossed, every legal consequence they'd face if they ever tried anything like this again. The moment I signed it, a strange calm washed over me. Not relief, not happiness, something deeper. Closure. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the quiet daughter, the background sister, the responsible one who gets nothing, the easy one to guilt, the easy one to manipulate, the easy one to use. I was a woman with boundaries and consequences, and a life they no longer had access to. That night, I sat on my porch under the warm Texas evening sky and breathed. My house was quiet again. My phone was silent. My front door was secure. And for the first time since I was a child, I felt free.